What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another review here at Big Gold Bell Media. Cam here, along with Damian G, and we got to see a early release of Tokyo Vice Season 2 that will be premiering on February 8th, this Thursday, on HBO Max. It's just going to go straight to streaming. It's not going to be on HBO channel, so Max streaming service, you'll be able to check it out. We were able to see the first two episodes, and there is a lot to unpack. So many little mini stories within here, within the whole entire plot that it's really, I mean, we're gonna have to just touch on a lot, Damien, on here.
Yeah.
So I'll give you guys a synopsis of this, just to give you an idea of what you're actually seeing, or if you haven't seen the show, then this will give you a good idea of what you're seeing. So Jake Adelstein is an American journalist who's plugged into the Tokyo Vice police squad and descends into the neon underbelly of Tokyo. It's a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, and the story, I mean, of course, I guess it ended off in season 1 with a lot of questions. And I think within the first two episodes, we got a lot of answers that we didn't know we were getting answers to, you and me both. But it still left us at episode 2 with more questions. So I think that's what really draws a lot of us into this show. I'll just say with this first two episodes for myself, I'm really enjoying it so far. I think that it feels very old school, gritty type, kind of like that true crime, noir type movies where they're trying to connect the dots to find out the final who's the big villain. But there's so many underbellies of villains that have, like, I guess, altered motives, like ulterior motives that it kind of throws everybody for a loop while watching it. Damien, what did you think of the first two episodes?
There's a lot to unpack. It's like connect the dots, la la la. As someone who didn't watch season 1, who went into this blind, wow. We start off, and this is full spoilers for episodes 1 and 2, everybody, so just bear with us. We start off with Polina allegedly being murdered, even though Cam thinks she's dead. She got stomped out on the boat.
Yep.
As that's where season 1 leaves off, and we go straight into it of her getting stomped out. So me watching this and thinking, oh, okay, this is like Twin Peaks. We start with a murder. Okay, that's cool. And then this whole thing starts to unravel, all these characters who are intersecting. Like you said, we get Jake, which is fine. We get Katagiri, which is fine. Those are our 2 leads. Great. We got 2 leads. And then you have all these yakuza who I had to write down. You and I have been writing down since the recap. It's like we got the Chihara-kai, the Tozawa gang, are fighting for the streets of Japan. And then you got Emi, which is Jake's boss, who's blocking him from doing stories. So there's some beef going on in the newspaper. Then there's beef going on in the precinct. So I'm thinking, wait a minute, because with Katagiri and who is it, Miyamoto, season 1, carrying over, like, he feel grief for the death of Miyamoto. So there is way too much going on. And then we get to the Sato part, where Sato, who's a member of the Chihara-kai, and he got at the end of season 1.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like,
that was
when they showed him in the hospital, all jacked up and cut up, and you try to figure out who shanked him. And we find out as the time goes on, they kidnapped this man from the hospital, his gang brothers. They jacked him from the hospital when his other brother, his real brother, was mourning him or crying over his body. The gang straight up took him back to the warehouse with their John Wickian doctor. Like, is he gonna make it? So there's a lot of, to your point, there is the film noir stuff, which I love, that the Hollywood noir stuff. They got some John Woo elements, but it's not too over the top.
For sure.
I was waiting for Chun Yun Fat to make an appearance at some point in this series, because I feel like this is right up his alley. But yeah, that's and then Samantha, the other Gaijin, she gets around like Tupac, round and round.
Yeah, she does.
And then we found out that apparently hostesses in Japan basically get paid buku bucks just to hang out with businessmen, not
just
finagle,
talk to him.
just
Crazy.
hung out. It's like OnlyFans in person.
Yeah. I mean, but everybody got their clothes on, and you're just selling bottles. You're not selling bodies. You're selling bottles the whole entire time. Yeah, and just to go off your point, I mean, we definitely picked up where after Jake just finished getting his body beat to a pulp, and now he's trying to, like, fix things with Detective Katagiri, and they're trying to, I guess, solve this crime now of what happened to Polina at this point. And it's kind of crazy because I think about the different names of the gangs, right? So just to throw this little part out there, I thought about it and I was like, okay, so Ashita is the boss of the Chihara-kai, right?
Yes.
Yazuka. Yazuke. And then Tozawa, he's the leader of the Tozawa gang.
His own gang.
That dude just loves
his own gang.
Too much. He named it his own self. That's kind of shallow at that point. Yes. I was like, he couldn't even think of another name. He was like, you know what? I'm good enough. That's all y'all need to know is y'all are under me at this point. And that honestly, that shows and kind of tells what type of person and character he is in this show. And at this point, we're trying to figure out, where is he? Like, they're saying that he's gone, right? Or that's what we've been told, is that Tozawa died. Because at this point, the Chihara-kai is trying to take over, their provinces, and they're trying to get their payouts and pay cuts from, I don't want to call them brothels. I guess you can call them like hostess.
Yeah,
clubs. Clubs. They call them clubs, right? So you call them clubs. Yes, from their clubs or either their businesses that they were running at one point. Now the Chihara-kai is trying to come through, and since Sato, he actually was able to recover from his wounds, but the guy that actually stabbed him, he's like under his thumb now at this point. I mean, because there was a point where Ashita brought the gentleman that actually stabbed and what we thought mortally wounded Sato. And I think Sato is having like some type of PSD or PTSD moment where he's just like,
he's enough.
I don't want to do any more violence. Yeah, he's like, I'm done with the violence, man. Like, and though in season 1, he wasn't really about that life, to be honest with you. I mean, he got the tattoos. He's, completely gang affiliated, if you want to say that, but he doesn't really want to hurt people unless there's something on the line, Samantha. Then he'll be willing to risk it all for her. So I mean, I think this show is definitely going to be a eye popper for a lot of people. I think it's definitely going to be able to pull people in. I'm excited about the next couple episodes, since we'll be doing this recap week to week before every Thursday's episode. And it's also starting on February 8th. Just throw that out there one more time. Was there anything about this first 2 episodes that you were like kind of off put about or didn't really like?
I hate Jake. That's the first thing. Okay. I've been telling y'all from the first minute, I can't stand this guy. Everything about him screams punchable face. Okay. And for those that don't know, this is a period piece, because this started back in 1999 in show. So there's pagers, there's letters, there's VHS, there's old school video cameras, there's 90s fashion when you see some of the gangs. So I think some of the connections are convoluted, if I could be honest. There's too many intersecting points. If you don't know season 1, you're completely lost. We had to go back and check the recap multiple times to be caught up on this, and we're still confused. What exactly are the two gangs really fighting for beside territory? It feels like, good versus evil. I don't want to call the Chihara-kai good, but I feel like they're the least cutthroat of the two gangs. So they want to just keep things as it is. And then Katagiri is trying to keep the peace. But in episode 2, we find out there's a new boss in town that says, bonk this keeping the peace stuff. And now she's brought Katagiri on after he's been excused from his duties to be part of this task force to bring down all of the gangs, not just keep the peace. So to answer your question fully, sorry, one more thing. Just to answer your question fully, I had to write down so many things just to piece everything together. But our main players, Jake Katagiri, Sato, Samantha, and the gangs. And we have a random appearance by Tozawa's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who I don't like either. So there you go.
Yeah, and to touch on Masaki, who's Tozawa's girlfriend, she is, I don't know.
I don't trust her.
I don't not like her, but I just feel like I haven't seen enough of her to enjoy her character just yet. And I'm hoping there's more to her than, just late night phone calls like we've seen at the end. And where's Tozawa? I need a little bit more information about what happened to dude. We know he was sick in the season, the first season.
Right.
But okay, like did he pass away? Is there a grave? Was there a funeral? Like, and to throw this out there also about the episodes is that there is a I believe it's like a 4-week skip from episode 1 to episode 2, and we get to basically see what's been happening in the time between the 2 episodes of trying to figure out what happened to Polina and Sato's recovery and his assimilation back into Chihara-kai, and then also to see what's been going on with Samantha. And it seems that Jake, since he's been able to kind of gravitate to these articles that are I guess you could say front page news for the most part, he's been able to get opportunities now to choose what he wants to write about since he's been published. And it seems like he's been trying to go the safer route, because I think he had an option of doing a murder case, and it was another one, and then the last one he ended up choosing was like the motorcycle thieves, right? But it seems like slowly now this motorcycle thief situation is going to lead him right back to the Yasuke. And it's just like they're intertwined in everything in Tokyo, whether it's robberies, murder, just everything goes through them, before it gets honestly to the police. And like you said, the new deputy director of this task force is coming in, and she is ready to shut it down. And of course, she tried to recruit my man Detective Katagiri, who's now a pencil pusher or sitting at the desk, which he hates at this point. And now they're going to, I guess he decided, I don't want to do this. I want to be a detective, or I want to be a real police officer, even though he knows that this is really dangerous for him and his family, because he's so well connected with all these people. He's the guy trying to keep the peace. So it's not like, they definitely know him on first name basis. If I had to say what I don't like about this show is that I wish they kind of followed just one storyline, but I think that's what makes this show different as well. Is that there's so many intertwining storylines that are supposed to come together to create this whole branching out tree effect, but it kind of gets confusing. And for people that weren't able, or I guess weren't informed about season 1, you kind of are lost if you don't watch season 1. It's not like, same. Like I couldn't just jump into this and be like, oh, that's what's like, no, I don't know anybody.
Nope.
It's like
who you are.
It's like starting in the middle of a movie and you're like, what are we watching? Like, what is this right now? So that was the only difficult part for me, I think. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. If you had to give it a rating, what would you give this these first 2 episodes?
Honestly, I'm giving it a 5.
Okay. 5 out of 10?
Of 10.
Okay, gotcha.
Because I'm just now starting to get into it. I do love a good mystery show, but again, my biggest pet peeves were all the connecting plot points. There weren't really plot points. It was just more, this is what this person's been doing since season 1 happened.
Right.
Just like a little fill-in thing.
Right.
We find out that when Polina dies, right? She's on the boat, and apparently the prime minister or something like that sees her as a witness to her getting stomped out. So the reason why Katagiri and Jake have to back off is because they went after this official,
right?
With the, hey, who this girl is, spill the beans, and he doesn't. So Jake's forced to pull the story. Katagiri's forced to be a pencil pusher because there's no story, because they burned the building down that had the evidence.
Doesn't that seem like the the full narration for the most part. Like it seems like every time they get close to busting somebody big, the newspaper is like, you can't post that. Like, come on, man. Like, you can't do that. He's our leader. He will literally take you out tomorrow before you even. Well, he's able to say something, but at what cost? You want to lose your life over a story, you know?
Right.
So, how important is this story to you? I guess is what the question is to the end of the day. Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. I think that a lot of people, if you get a chance to watch season 2, please watch season 1 first, or either do a recap, because it'll definitely have you like have you more informed and really get you more in depth with these characters and what their story actually is. If you start off on episode 1 of season 2, I wish you the best of luck. But for me, I would rate this. I'm gonna give it a 6 because I'm excited to see what the dynamics of these characters are going to be. Even though Samantha is one of my least favorite characters in this show, I'm excited to see what happens to her now that she's like a head mistress, or Samantha's son is what they're calling her, right? So it seems like she's making big moves, and hopefully she's able to pay off this debt that she took out from Yoshida, or the loan, because as we know from the first season, loans will get you in trouble, everybody.
Dude,
okay?
Yeah, that's what we figured
Financial
out.
aid, they ain't got that. It's just you take a loan out, those are toes you're gonna lose. So it's pretty bad.
Loan shark, that's loan death. Like, no,
it's crazy. I'm like, man, like everybody taking out loans, can't nobody pay them back. This economically, this can't be good if you're just taking out the customers at this point. You got any final words, Damien, for this one?
I do. So I just want to if I'm off, correct me for the audience. I just want to let them know what the plot points are so far. Okay. It's Jake and Katagiri trying to solve whatever mystery is going on between, the Tozawa gang and what have you. That's one. Then there's the storyline between the Tozawa gang and the Chihara-kai, right? Then there's Sato, who feels remorse toward his killer, or the attempted murderer. So now the attempted murderer is under his thumb, like you said, but he still swears loyalty to the Chihara-kai, even though he doesn't want to be a part of this lifestyle anymore. So there's that mental anguish. We have Samantha, who owns the club by a loan from the Chihara-kai, like you just said, who is not reputable when it comes to paying back loans and taking out their clientele.
She ran out on the last plug, and now she take out another loan. Thank goodness they don't know about that, because they probably wouldn't give it to her at this point.
Right. And she loses her best friend in the first scene of season 2. Sato, we find out, has a thing for Samantha, which I wouldn't have seen that coming a mile away, because he wants her to be protected. So Sato is trying to push her away from doing stuff that's going to get her in trouble. Okay. And then there's Jake and Masaki, and man, she shows up maybe 3 times total in the first 2 episodes. And all 3 times, it's her making Jake seem like he's going to buy her freedom, like, one of those gaijins trying to buy the lady of the night.
Right.
And then she sleeps with him at the end of episode 2.
When did their story develop like that for her to be like, hey,
come over?
Are you awake? That's basically, I mean, she sent him the "Are you up?" text, and it's a phone call because they don't have texting. So
yeah, he got WYD'd. Yeah, he basically did. Yeah, he did. But those are all that's branched in from what I see. And then there's Jake versus his bosses at the newspaper.
Yeah. And I think they're steadily probably going to be an adversary for him, just he wants to do the right thing, but sometimes you got to just keep your mouth shut to keep on moving forward, I think, too. So that's probably a lesson he hasn't learned even after getting his nose broken in the first season.
He was walking with a limp in the first 5 seconds of the show.
He was tore up. But he still is like, I guess, the truth is important, but for, I don't know at what cost for him, but he has nothing to lose, it feels like, in this at all. And it's, by the way, the actor, let's see, Ansel Elgort, his Japanese is really good.
Okay.
Like in the show, just him speaking Japanese, I was like, wow. I was really surprised, because I thought, first off, watching this season, that there wasn't going to be, I guess, much transition in cultural dialect. I thought it was going to be mainly English for the most part, or either like dubbed over on some parts. but that was a cool part about it, and I think definitely did a great job in that. But that's going to be it for me on my side. Damien, you got anything else?
No, I'm good.
Make sure you guys go check out Tokyo Vice season 2 premiering on HBO Max February 8th. Damien, where everybody check you out at?
Find me at Damien G Show across the board, and a new thing, which is Damien Gracia 47, which I do mental health stories, and I do mental health check-ins with people all over the internet. So that's another thing that I'm doing now.
That's amazing, bro. And everybody can check me out at Cam's Collection on all platforms, IG, YouTube, and Instagram. For more content like this, make sure you check us out at biggoldbeltmedia.com. Until next time, guys. Peace.